You are ready to start believing and acting like you are more than what you weigh, then this episode is for you. This is the first official episode of season 6, where I really kind of explain my 3-part framework to helping women live in the reality that they are more than their weight. I help women find peace with food, feel confident in their bodies again, and develop a healthy lifestyle that's more than what they weigh. But that takes really caring for your mind and your mindset as it relates to your body and healthy living and your weight and all those things, as well as caring for your body through healthy habits, and then caring for your soul through looking at the other areas of your life that primarily feed you. So it is mind, body, soul, or mindset, habits, and life. And so in this episode, what I'm going to do, it's a longer episode than normal, but I really just share with you 21 ways, so 7 in each of those 3 areas, to really start acting and believing that you are more than what you weigh. I believe when our actions are connected to our beliefs, and our beliefs are connection to our actions. And so when we start taking simple steps as throwing out our scale, that's number 2 on the list, then we're saying to ourselves, you know what? I'm going to take care of my health because I'm more than what I weigh. Right? So really go into this episode not trying to apply all 21 things, but coming away thinking about what's the one thing in maybe each of the 3 categories that I talked about that you can start applying to your life and start living in the reality that you are #more than your weight. All right. But also, because of this new rebrand of the podcast and of my work, I have a lot of great stuff in store for you this month. A giveaway happening this week, an opportunity to kind of listen to these podcast episodes categorized into these 3 categories, as well as an opportunity to jump on live with me once a week, dive into these areas a little bit more, and get some support. Then, of course, I want to make sure you specifically know, as a faithful listener, or even if you're a new listener, I have open spots for my one-on-one 6-month coaching program, More Than Your Weight Mentorship. And so if you are ready to even get some support or want to learn what that means, you're going to want to make sure you stay tuned so you can sign up for a free clarity call. All right. Enjoy this episode. Don't worry. You can feel free if you want to take down notes, but I also have a link for you to get all 21 ways written up for you. Okay. Have a good one and enjoy the episode. You're listening to the More Than Your Weight podcast, and I am Brianna Wilkerson, your host. For over half my life, I've had to really pay attention to my relationship with food, my body, and myself. As a high schooler, I just started to find my worth in my weight, in my work, and really started to define my beauty, my body, my value through how I looked. That led to disordered ways of eating, of exercising, and really just not appreciating my body in word and in action. And then when I started to really realize that my worth was not in my weight and that my value was way more beyond than what the scale could ever tell me, I found breakthrough and freedom. And it has been my mission ever since to help other women do the same. I'm on a mission to see other women find peace with food, feel confident in their body again, and develop a healthy lifestyle that's more than about their weight. I don't think weight loss is a bad thing, but I do think when we're approaching it from a place of wanting to find our worth, our value, and our beauty in it, then we have to take a second thought and ask ourselves if that's right or not. All right, so on this podcast, I want to help you find freedom. I want to help you see that you can have peace with food. You can feel confident in your body again, and you can develop a healthy lifestyle and cherish the body that you're in and know that it's more than about your weight. So you're going to find solo episodes, you're going to find guest interviews, you're going to find episodes where I'm going to just talk from the heart and from the soul and really support you in developing a healthy lifestyle that is mind, body, and soul. And of course, because I'm an essential oils lover, I might drop in an essential oil episode from time to time. So I'm just so glad you're here and so honored to be on this version of the podcast with you. So be sure to listen in, rate, review, and also make sure you join my free Facebook group, the More Than Your Weight Women's Community. This is a space where you can unpack all these episodes and more. And also follow me on Insta. I'm there every day, sharing behind the scenes on my life and sharing tips to support you in your journey. It's a privilege to journey with you, and I can't wait for you to listen to this next episode. Friends, welcome back to another episode, the official first episode of season 6, and the new name, rebrand, and focus on More Than Your Weight. So this is the More Than Your Weight podcast, and I am your host, Brianna Wilkerson. So last week I had a mini little trailer episode just kind of sharing my heart around why the name change, why the name change around my programs, my group, even my free resources, and how that is literally bringing together everything I've done in the last 5 years of running my business, and actually beyond that, and not just business, but the ways that I coach women in everyday life and other areas and other spheres of my life. And that is, I really want to help women thrive in all areas of their life, but particularly specifically by finding peace with food, feeling confident in their body again, and developing a healthy lifestyle that's way more than about what they weigh. Your weight is only one small fraction of your life. And it's not always the most perfect indicator of your health, your well-being, and it's definitely not an indicator of your worth. And so on this podcast going forward, you're going to see a lot of the things that I've talked about here. My goodness, I have episodes on, in 3 main categories, which we're going to talk a little bit about today. But, just like in all areas of life and health and well-being and mindset, there are episodes already. But I'm going to continue to foster that with a little bit more intentionality here in the podcast, in my Facebook group, Instagram, and in my work. All right. So if you're looking to find peace with food, feel confident in your body again, and develop a healthy lifestyle that's more than about what you weigh, you're in the right place. So today I'm giving you a lot of tips here. It's 21 ways, right, to start believing and acting like you're more than your weight. Typically I would do like 5 or 3 or 7, just really small, actionable. But the idea of even sharing all 21 ways is that in each of the 3 main areas that I support women in, mind, body, and soul, or their mindset around health in themselves and healthy living, healthy habits, and then soul, life, other areas of life that primarily nourish and feed you. There are 7 pillars in each. I don't know why, I just picked 7. And I feel like they're very, very comprehensive. So I just want to give you one small step that really encompasses one of those pillars. So for example, number 1 is go diet free for 90 days. That's in the diet pillar of the food freedom stuff that I talk about around mindset, around food, your body, and yourself. Okay. So I'm just going to talk about one small yet powerful actionable step in these 3 different areas: mind, body, soul. And we'll go from there. But before I get into all of that, I just want to let you know, you want to stay tuned to the very end, because at the very end, I'm going to be sharing some really goodies and some resources, some actions for you to get further support in this new brand, this new change, and so forth. I've created if you've signed up for a freebie or a course or a challenge or a summit in the last couple of years, I use MemberVault, which so great. I'm going to definitely link it in here so that you can access it if you are a course creator, or you have, online digital products that you sell or share, or you just want to share with people. I'm definitely going to link that in here so you can definitely check it out. But I have categorize all my podcast episodes in there. So yes, you can listen to my podcast on any platform, which if that's the way you listen, go ahead, do it. But if you are looking for, a specific way, like if I talk mind, body, soul, or mindset, habits, and life, and you're wanting to listen to particular episodes in those areas, in MemberVault, I've kind of categorized it in there, and you can even just go ahead and listen. And that by doing that, you sign up for updates, the weekly updates where I send out, the new podcast, as well as, where, I remind you of different events I'm having when I'm going live, and different programs and offerings. So you're going to definitely want to make sure you're on my email list, but also sign up for that free resource with the podcast episodes categorized, but also my inventories, because you guys know I love inventories on all of the, really unpacking these 7 areas and helping you figure out even within that which episodes you need to focus on. Okay. I'll mention more about how you can sign up about that at the end, but just wanted to mention that, I'll also talk about a giveaway I'm doing this week till Saturday to celebrate this podcast and this new name, a new change, and kind of new focus. I'm actually giving away a 90-minute intensive to support you in one of these areas, mind, body, soul, or maybe it's, we can't cover all 3, but we, even 90-minute session will cover one main aspect of these areas. And also giving away an intro to essential oils kit, because this podcast is also going to have some bonus essential oil episodes going forward too. So definitely stay tuned to learn more about how to enter that giveaway. And then I'll also be briefly sharing how For every Thursday around noon, depending on how things work out in my Facebook group, I'm going to be going live to expand upon each of these areas. This week will be the overall framework and overall 3 pillars and how they play together. And then I'll pick one throughout each of the Thursdays to unpack. And of course, I'll be inviting you to really get support in these areas through my 6-month program. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff I'm doing to celebrate it. So I know you're like, that's 5 things. Yes, that is 5 things. But I really want to make sure that I'm celebrating this well. There's a lot of great stuff happening this month in order to support you in these areas. And so definitely stay tuned. But let's do the 21 ways, not 6 ways, 21 ways. So you can feel free to take some notes, or I'm actually going to be putting this in that the list of these in that Member Vault podcast episode database if you just want to easily access that. I'll probably also start doing, not right away, but doing some transcripts. So if you're like, you want to read, kind of like blog post style, you can do that. But I will be putting these 21 ways in the podcast episode thing as a resource for you. So you're going to want to make sure you sign up for that in Member Vault, that library of podcast episodes. Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about mind first. Your mindset. And remember, again, this is mindset towards food, your body, and self. And I just finished a food freedom challenge where I talked about these 7 areas: diets, the scale / weight, food, your body, yourself, exercise, and your emotions. So I'm going to give you a tip that aligns with one of those 7 things. Okay. So first is go diet free for 90 days. And I did a training on this in my summit, my Healthy New Year summit in January. If you want to, watch all those episodes, all that stuff applies to more than just the new year. But I did a talk on that, really just the idea of many of the times we're running to a quick fix we're running to a quick fix in a diet to fix a longer term solution. So we want to just commit to figuring out what are ways that we can take care of ourselves, our mind, body, soul, holistically, and do it in such a way that does not include a strict, restricted diet. Again, there's time and place for diets, depending on certain conditions. I talked about that in my Food Freedom Challenge. But I just really want you to commit, maybe this is your tip, commit to figuring out how you're going to nourish your body, your mind, and your soul without a diet for 90 days. All right? So that's number 1. Number 2, throw away your scale. This might be like, OMG, throw away my scale, girl. But you don't have to take all these ways, right? But maybe for you, the scale is just something you're looking at every week to validate you, to validate your progress, to validate your worth, to validate who you are. And maybe you just need to not weigh yourself, not even have it in your house. I actually don't have a scale in the house. Every now and then I may weigh myself, but I don't have it because I know me. I would step on it very regularly, and my mind would go wonky over whether it was under or over or whatever weight I wanted it to be. So maybe for you, you just need to stop finding your worth and your progress and your celebration and whether or not you're enough in the scale. So maybe you need to throw it away. Okay. Number 3, stop labeling foods good or bad foods. This goes back to our relationship with food. The first one was relationship with diets. The second one was relationship with your weight or the scale. And this one's relationship with food. Listen, there's no good or bad food. Good and bad is just, it's like shame on you. Like no shame on you. We're not using those words. I think there's foods that are more nutritious for you, but that does not mean that you can't eat a quote unquote non-nutritious food. Right? Every food has some sort of nutrition, carbs, fat, micronutrients, macronutrient for you, but some are just more nutritious. And that's typically what we would quote unquote label good foods. But I think when you start to break your relationship with good or bad food, what starts to happen is that you start to see that you start to find a little bit more food freedom. You don't feel as much guilt or shame over eating what you used to call a bad food because you're developing a better relationship with food. Okay? And so definitely maybe you just need to stop labeling food good or bad. It's 4. This goes to your relationship with your body. Maybe you choose to say one thing you love about your body out loud each day. Maybe this is in the mirror. Maybe this is an affirmation. But something, maybe you choose a different part of your body each day. You're just affirming it, accepting it. So maybe you have an issue with your thighs or your feet or your toes. Like we all have different fetishes, or I don't even know what No, that's not the right word. That's not what I meant. But all have different little things that we're like, oh, no, that's not, it's ugly. I don't like it. But maybe you say, you know what? Each day it's like, I'm so grateful for you thighs for allowing me to squat, pick up my daughter, to be able to do the physical exercises I love to do. Thank you so much, thighs. Maybe that's what you need to do. There's powerful things that happen when women stop hating their bodies. Okay. All right. So then 5, write down one way you are proud of yourself each day. And this goes back to your relationship with yourself and telling yourself you are enough and who you are is enough and what you do is enough. And, so today, for example, it's in the evening. My daughter's taking a nap, or not evening, well, she's taking a nap right now. And I reflect on my day and I say, okay, what I really want to make sure I do each day is do some work, be with God, connect with people meaningfully, and connect with my daughter. And I played a little bit with her, helped her. She's taking those little baby steps, right? So it's like, Brianna, great job in being a present mom and a present business owner today. Maybe that's what I just tell myself today. But if I don't tell myself that, I start telling myself, my goodness, you look at this to-do list, you didn't accomplish it all. Like, you just don't have enough time. You're not using your time well. Like, stop that baloney. No, great job at being a present mom and business owner today. Okay. All right, so that's number 5. Write down one thing you are proud of yourself each day. Number 6, this goes down to your relationship with exercise. Create a list of joyful movement and do one each day or a few times a week. So maybe for you, that's a walk. Maybe for that's a cross-training workout. Maybe for you, that's some stretching. And you're just going to make a list that when you have capacity, maybe in the beginning, you just do what you feel like doing. And that just brings you joy. And I'm telling you, you're going to develop a way better relationship with exercise, because many of us are seeing exercise as a ways to an end or punishment. And we want to start seeing it as empowering, something that we as women can do. I'm reading this book by Molly. Can never pronounce it. Sorry, Molly G. I'm going to call her. She wrote Strong Women Who Lift Each Other Up. And it's a really great book because, she talks a lot about this, even how, in relation to us as women, but even, she's one of the co-founders of Girls Gone Strong. Like, we as women can do such marvelous things with our body, but we need to see, particularly through exercise, we need to see that it's okay and we need to start enjoying it. You're not going to do those things or feel like it's empowering if you don't find those exercises that you like to do. Number 7, understand what's at the root behind your emotions. This goes back to emotional health a little bit, which I know is tied into the soul part, but this particularly ties to emotional eating, which is something I know a lot of my audience or the women that I work with, deal with. And because I think often, I talked about this in my Food Freedom Challenge, we are trying to numb our emotions and not process it, because maybe you just need to get through it. Right? But if you don't take the time at some point to deal with those emotions, you're going to keep numbing it through different means. It may be food, it may be through work, it may be through relationships. So take some time to understand what's at the root of that emotion, and you'll start to handle it differently. All right, so 7 ways to start living and acting and believing like you're more than your weight is to take care of your mind and your mindset, and particularly your relationship with diets, scale, food, your body, yourself, exercise, and emotions. And the 7 tips are: go diet-free for 90 days, throw away your scale, stop labeling food good or bad, say one thing you love about your body out loud each day, write down one way you are proud of yourself each day, create a list of joyful movement and do one a few times a week, understand what's at the root behind your emotions. Okay? So that is the mind. Now body. Now this goes to healthy habits. Those habits that bring us life, that bring our body joy. And I'm going to cover nutrition, exercise, stress, sleep, digestion, toxic load, and then hormones. I used to say mindset and habits, but since we're covering that earlier, hormones I'm bringing into the conversation. And so the first tip in this area is eat one nutritious food that makes you feel good. You all know what I mean. I was talking with a client the other day who was just saying when she had avocado, like she just felt really great with the salad, or even with her sandwich from Panera, I think it was. It's like, oh my gosh, well then eat that, because that's actually very nutritious. You had a well-balanced meal, and that avocado is such a great energizing fat. So eat that daily. Like, let's just start there. Start with one small nutritious food that makes you feel good. And not all nutritious foods will, like, quote unquote, make you feel good right away. But I think if you know that there are certain nourishing foods that really make your body feel alive and vibrant and well and make it work well, just start with that food each day or every other day, or a different one every day. Second one, again, goes back to exercise. And rather than just thinking about exercise you enjoy daily, doing that daily or weekly, move more daily. Our bodies are meant to be in motion. It thrives when our body is moving. And so maybe you find simple ways to move more in your everyday life. You park further, you have something that tracks your step. You make sure you fill up your glass of water every hour or something like that. 3, this has to do with stress. So ask yourselves what stressors you have control over. Stress often is linked to fear of something happening or not happening. And fear is what is the acronym again? Fear. False evidence appearing real. So there's things that may actually not happen, or we think will happen, that it's actually not real yet, but we're fearing it. And there are things we stress out about that could happen. But what do you actually have control over? Because I think often when it comes to stress, we feel out of control. But what can you do to either eliminate that stress, reduce that stress, or cope with that stress? Ask yourself that about the stresses you're feeling right now. All right, so number 4 has to deal with sleep and giving yourself permission to rest, to sleep, and to nap. So sleep is so important, and we all know we need to sleep more. We all know how we feel when we don't sleep, but there's just things that come up that prevent us from sleeping. And this is something I'm struggling with in this season with a 10-month-old who's sometimes sleeping really good, sometimes not. I just get myself busy too. There are times I could go to bed early, but I find myself doing other things, whether it's work, whether it's stuff around the house, whether it's watching a show. And I just have to give myself permission to sleep and trust that everything's going to get done. Okay? Because your body needs it. I know that after months of not sleeping, I know that if I don't get that good rest, I don't think clearly, I'm not as nice, I'm not as focused, and I just don't feel good. So that's one thing I'm working on in this season, giving my body the nourishment it needs. Not looking at the scale, but giving my body some sleep. 5th just has to do with digestion, and that's eating tummy-loving foods. And so your stomach and your digestive system, all of that thrives when it has, good bacteria in it, when it's eating foods that help it digest foods well and, good enzymes. And so eating foods that your tummy likes. And there are even some healthy, nutritious foods that some people's tummies don't like. So focus on the ones your tummies like. Focus on adding good bacteria into your diet. Kombucha, all those things. 6, I'm an essential oils advocate, so an educator, and I love them. So I think using essential oils for your cleaning, beauty, and proactive care, natural care products. So reducing your toxic load, your body, a woman can be exposed to 500 plus chemicals a day in her body, synthetic ones that really just mess with your hormones, mess with your metabolism, mess with your body when you keep having these low dosage exposures over time. And so essential oils to me are a beautiful way to counteract that, where you're not only taking care of yourself proactively, when you're feeling a little bit under the weather or whatever, cleaning with an essential oil that's one, non-toxic, but also has therapeutic benefits themselves. Like lemon is naturally a detoxifying oil. So using that in your water for you personally, or using that for your cleaning can just really work well in many ways. And so feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions on this. Would love to hop on a call and just, chat with you about some ways you can use essential oils in your daily life for your health, home, and family. And then 7 has to do with your hormones. So some of you may still have your cycle, some of you may not, but you might be in a certain phase of your menstrual cycle. So track your cycle and the phase you're in. And I think this is important. I started and have a couple podcast episodes in October, I think it was 2019. I did 8 podcast episodes around hormones, and I was exposed to the power of hormone health, not just women's health hormones, not just estrogen or progesterone or FSH or luteinizing or all of that, but the power of hormones in our body acting as chemical messengers, telling our body to do what it needs to do. And all of these habits I've actually mentioned so far, I'm telling you, when you work on those, when I've read stuff by different hormone experts, that will naturally help your hormones work the way it should. Sometimes you just need to be more intentional. But tracking your cycle is some stuff I learned from Lisa Hendrickson-Jack. And you feel free to listen to her podcast episode. And she just really talked a lot about how it's a fifth vital sign and how you can learn certain things about your body. And how she learned she had a thyroid issue by tracking her cycle. And, there's different phases even within the 4 kind of weeks of your menstrual cycle that many of us. Well, it's actually not a 28-day cycle for most people. But, maybe some of you are in the perimenopause, menopause stage, and you're experiencing certain conditions. This still applies to you. It's like figuring out what is at the root of those things. Obviously as estrogen and progesterone are kind of phasing out from your cycle, it brings an array of things. And so working on these habits and customizing them to your particular season would be very important. But still paying attention to how you can be, regulating the rest of your hormones, insulin, cortisol, all of those can really help support you as well in your health and your metabolic function and so forth. All right, so that's the 7 for body. We talked about nutrition, eating one nourishing food that makes your body feel good. Movement, move more daily. 3, ask yourself when stressors you have control over, so that's stress. 4, give yourself permission to sleep and nap. 5, digestion, eating tummy-loving foods. 6, toxic load, using essential oils for your cleaning, proactive healthcare, and beauty products. And then 7, track your cycle and just know what phase of that you're in your life, or even within the typical cycle. All right, so then let's wrap up with 7 areas of your soul. So this is solar life. I really want you to have a flourishing life. And I believe what primarily feeds you is not necessarily what's on your plate. It's your career, it's your spirituality, it's your relationship with your money, it's your relationships, it's your yes, your physical activity. We talked about that already. It's it's your mind and personal development and all those things. So let's talk about 7 simple ways. Connect with God daily. I'm a Christian, believe that God and his son Jesus is wonderful, but you might believe something different, and that's okay. What is that? I think we are spiritual beings. And for me as a Christian, I know, I have on my top things I want to accomplish this year in my business and my life. And one of them is daily get lost in the presence of God, because my relationship with him is just a little different now that I'm a mom, now that I, business owner during this pandemic. And I want to daily get lost in his presence and feel his love, because for me, it was really understanding God's love for me that helped me see my worth was not in my weight, and helped create this business because of my own transformation and freedom and holistic approach to health. And so connect with God daily, connect with your spirit daily and his spirit daily. 2, create healthy boundaries in your relationships. So boundaries, I think most people think boundaries are a bad thing. Boundaries are a thing that everyone needs. Boundary is where you begin and someone else ends, and vice versa. And often when there's a breakdown in any relationship, whether at work, whether with a significant other, whether a friendship, whether a family relationship, it may be communication, but it could be a breaching of boundaries that was never actually communicated to each other. So obviously, Henry Cloud has some really great stuff on boundaries. So I would definitely check out his books on boundaries. But creating healthy boundaries just help relationships thrive. 3, make space for your passions, your hobbies, and your dreams. Right now I'm looking at my vision board, and there's kids on there. Before I had kids, well, there's girls on there. I want to have a boy too, but I love little girls. There's a picture of home in Cayman, because I do want to eventually live there again one day. There's a picture of me speaking. There's a picture of me saying I'm a writer because I'm writing a book, and picture of stuff with doTERRA, a picture of me working out again. I really wanted to reach certain fitness goals postpartum, and just visualizing these are my dreams for my life. These are my dreams for my business, and this is very aligned with my purpose, my hobbies, and things I love to do. You're more than what you do, just you. Sometimes, our vocation is our calling, and sometimes that aligns with our occupation. Sometimes it's different. But also there are just things that bring you joy in life, passions, hobbies, and careers. Make space for those. I feel like we allow, when we're kids, we're told to just have fun, explore all that, but then we become an adult. And yes, of course we have responsibilities, but I think we just don't make as much space for that. So try and make space for that in your daily life, because that's going to feed you. That's going to feed your soul. 4, this is emotional health. Share how you feel. We need to process our emotions. As women, we do feel our emotions. Most women feel them. and they're a gift. They're an indicator of how you should process something, your gut instinct, what's going on. But sometimes we get so busy we don't process it. So journal it through writing, talk with it through a friend. Maybe you have a podcast where you're just sharing your feelings, whatever. Process that, because there's so much peace and clarity and understanding that happens when you process your emotions. All right, so that's emotional health. And then the fifth one is, your mindset, but I'm going to look at this more so from personal development. Spend 10 minutes growing personally each day. Maybe that's reading. Maybe that's listening to a podcast, maybe like my podcast. Maybe that's, you're going through a course. Maybe that's something at work. Just how are you growing and developing yourself? It's just so important. I thrive on personal development personally, but I think it's created me into the leader and the woman and the coach and the business owner and mom, wife, all that I am today, because I intentionally spend time for personal development. All right, number 6 is look at your finances weekly. I am an accountant. That's what I was trained as in my first career. But I'm going to let you know, and I've done podcast episodes on this, I have a weird relationship with money, feeling like there's not enough and feeling like I don't know how to handle it well. And so I'm kicking my butt into shape and saying, that's not my story anymore. That's not who I am. I actually can handle money well. And I'm reading books on it again, and I'm working through practically how that looks. But for me, I have to actually make space to look at it. Some people are regularly looking at their budget, regularly managing it. Sometimes it gives me anxiety. So I am making a space each day, once a week, to look at the finances personally and with business and just face them. What's going on? And that way I can make better decisions from that place. So developing a healthy relationship with money, it might be something else for you. Maybe it's giving. You've been wanting to give more. Maybe you want to pay off debt. Maybe people give you money and resources and you don't know how to receive it. So this is just one tip. Look at your finances weekly. But again, in any of these areas, there might be another step for you. But this is just me kind of opening up your mind to how you can grow in each one of these areas. And then lastly is write out what your definition of health is for yourself in the season that you're in. And this is kind of going back to that physical health part, which is still part and connected to your soul, is what is your definition of physical health, but also all these areas of health, mental, emotional, financial, spiritual, vocational, for this season that you're in. And so the importance of this one for all of these is that, and even this encompasses, if you leave this a podcast and you're like, that's 21, that was a lot, I'm going to go check out all of them because I don't remember them, wasn't able to take them down. If you just remember one thing, this is why I intentionally left this one last. Look, you have to write what your definition of health and well-being is for your life in this season and follow that. Don't look at who you used to be. Don't look at who you want to be. Well, yes, you look at who you want to be, but don't look at anyone else. Just what is that what you want for your life? Imagine yourself healthy, alive, vibrant, laughing, spending time with your loved ones, pursuing the thing you feel called to do, energetic, sleeping well. That may be your definition of health and well-being in this season. That's what you need to pursue. All right. And so let me recap these 7 areas of soul or life health care in this season. And so connect with God daily. That's the spirituality. Create healthy boundaries in all your relationships. That's relationships. Make space for your passions, dreams, purpose. And that's vocation or purpose. Share how you feel. That's emotion. Spend 10 minutes in personal development daily. That is your mindset and growth. Look at your finances weekly. That's financial health, and then physical health, or in all of these areas, holistic health. Figure out what your definition of health and well-being is in this season and pursue that. All right, so that's 21 ways that you can start to believe and act like you're more than your weight. And the reason why I gave you a lot, because I wanted to show you an overall picture. I wanted to show you an overall picture of how you are more than your weight. Most women, when they think about health, well-being, we think very narrowly. We think nutrition and exercise and stress and sleep, which those are 4 really great things. But as you can see, your mindset towards diets, your body, yourself, exercise, and how you practically care for yourself. And yes, in those 4 areas of nutrition, exercise, stress, and sleep, but other areas. And then how it primarily feeds you in other areas of your life. All of them. all of them contribute to your health and well-being. All of them contribute to believing that who you are, what you do, what matters most is so much more than your weight will ever tell you. Your health, your worth, your life, your well-being is so much more. All right? And so your action steps today are a few different things. Again, this is a very in-depth episode, so you can listen to it multiple times if you need to. Usually try to do quick and concise, but I really wanted to give you some good meat to chew on this month. First is to sign up for podcast episodes and updates. So remember, I'm going to categorize these in my Member Vault, which you can listen there, or you can just listen anywhere on podcasts. You can find podcasts. But by signing up for this, you'll join my email list and you'll regularly be updated when new podcast episodes are and any other things that I have going on. So you can go to madewell345.com/podcast episodes or go to the show notes and you'll be signed up for that. Second is, I am doing a giveaway on Instagram and Facebook where I'm going to do a post. I think it went out today or yesterday. It's there by the time you're listening to this. And it just says, it says giveaway, all that sort of stuff. And I'm giving away a 90-minute intensive. Yes, my 90-minute coaching intensive, which is typically valued at like $500, giving one away, as well as an introductory kit to essential oils, lemon, lavender, and peppermint. And you can enter in to win these. You can enter in to win both of these when you do a couple things. Two things will definitely enter you in, then there's some bonus entries. One, if you like the photo on Facebook or Instagram, simple, you'll enter in. These are the two ways to enter. Like a photo and tag a friend. If you like the photo and tag a friend, you're entering in. That's one entry. Like a photo, tag a friend. But you can win an additional entry for every friend you tag. So say if you tag 5 friends, that's 5 entries. Then maybe you share it to your stories on Facebook or Instagram. That's 5 extra entries. So say you tagged 5 friends, you share it to your stories, you enter in 10 times. Then if you leave a podcast review on iTunes, and I'll link how you can do that in below, you win 10 extra entries. So friend, if you tagged 5 friends, you liked my photo, you shared it to your stories, and you left a review, you will enter in to win 20 times. That means your name is in the hat 20 times. So if you have been listening or you're wanting help on any of the areas I just covered, mind, body, and soul, this 90-minute coaching intensive is something you're going to want to win. And also, if essential oils has been something you want to try or you want to restock, then you're going to want to do this as well, okay? So, like the photo, tag a friend enters you in one time. Then the more friends you tag, the more entries you have. You share to your Facebook or Instagram stories, you'll get 5 extra entries. And then if you leave me a podcast review, you'll get 10, okay? Giveaway details are below, but I just wanted to make sure that you knew that this giveaway was happening this week until this Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern. So this goes live. So this will go live April 6th, so till Saturday, April 10th. Okay? So you have 5 days to go ahead and do all of this. The next thing is, so sign up for podcast updates, enter the giveaway, but also join me in my Facebook group for a live series I am doing all month, not all week. Every Thursday, around 12 p.m., you got to check the Facebook group for the times. I will be going live to unpack these stuff even more. So this week I'll be going over the overall framework, diving deep into mind, body, soul, and how that helps you with more live out more than what you weigh and reach your goals. And then each week's following, I'll do mind, body, soul, and I'll pick a specific area, the most popular area that I see women really wanting support around in those areas that I'll talk about that particular day. So if you go to madewell345.com/community or just search for the more than your women's weight, I tripped over my words. More Than Your Weight Women's Community on Facebook, you will join. Now, if you're not on Facebook, you of course can still follow me on Instagram, or, if you're on my email list, you'll get all the updates. And I always repurpose most of my Facebook trainings that are like the weekly ones to YouTube anyway, so you can always subscribe on YouTube as well. But the Facebook group is going to be where you can have daily inspiration, where I do challenges and so much. So you're going to want to make sure if you are on Facebook, you join the group. Okay, so let's recap this very chunky episode. I am here to support you in finding peace with food, with your body, peace with food, confidence in your body again, and developing a healthy lifestyle that's more than about what you weigh. And I do that by helping you really thrive in your mind, body, and soul. So your mindset towards healthy living, towards diet, scale, food, your body, yourself, healthy habits for your body, nutrition, exercise, stress, sleep, digestion, toxic load, and hormones. And then 7, soul. Then 3rd, soul. Where it's your life. What primarily feeds you is your spirituality, your finances, your career, your relationships, your so forth, right? And then I gave you 21 ways, 7 in each of those 3 areas that you can start believing and acting like you're more than your weight. Because when you start to do one of these, you're telling yourself, I'm more than my weight. My health is more than my weight. My mind is more than my weight. My life is more than my weight. All right. And then your 3 action steps is to sign up for the podcast episodes at madewell345.com/podcast episodes. You'll get the podcast categorized by these 3 areas, as well as weekly updates. You can enter the giveaway on Instagram happening to this Saturday, April 10th. You could do that by liking the photo, tagging a friend to be entered to win, and then there's ways to get additional entries. And then join me in my Facebook group for the weekly live series this month to really unpack this stuff. Now, if you're listening and you're really excited, like you're just excited about this change, and you know that the 3 main areas that I've just talked about that I support women in, that you're like, that's me. I actually have spots open for my 6-month coaching program this month, meaning I'm onboarding new clients this month. So if this is something like getting support in any of these areas is something you're like, count me in, I just want to learn more about that, book a no pressure clarity call. This is a complimentary call where together we could just chat through where you're at, where you want to be in these 3 areas, and how my 6-month program can support you in that. Okay, so go to madewell345.com/clarity or the show notes, and I would love to hop on the phone with you this month. All right, I know that's a lot, friends, and I know I don't do episodes like this anymore. I try to break it down to small pieces, but again, I wanted this one to really be one that you can refer to. Maybe you take in chunks throughout the month, but also know that in each of the Facebook Live trainings I'm doing this month, I'm unpacking these even more. Okay, so stay tuned the rest of this month for more episodes. Definitely check out all the things I told you to do, because you're going to really I want to support you in this new endeavor. Okay. Have a good one, and I will see you on the next episode. Woo! Take a deep breath. That was a jam-packed, hopefully fun-filled for you episode where I share 21 ways for you to really start believing and acting like you are more than what you weigh, that you are more than your weight. All right, again, don't try to apply all of them. Maybe take 1, 2, or 3, or 1 in each of the 3 areas, mind, body, soul, and try to apply it to your life. And make sure you tag me on Instagram or share with me in the Facebook group how you're going to apply this. But don't forget to enter in to win for the giveaway, the 90-minute intensive, as well as some essential oils. Sign up to get regular updates on when episodes are live, when I'm doing bonus episodes, or any other thing else happening in business. And make sure you join me in my Facebook group for the weekly series. And as always, you should know this, that if you're ready to get one-on-one support, book a clarity call with me. I just would love to talk with you about what that looks like and how that could suit you and your needs. All right, that's it for this jam-packed, but hopefully really resourceful and valuable episode for you. See you on the next episode, and I can't wait to see you in all the things we talked about here in the episode in this month. All right, bye. That's it. That's another episode of the More Than Your Weight podcast. I'm so honored that you would allow me to share my thoughts or even share my guest thoughts with you this week. But I want you to know you're not alone. So make sure you join the More Than Your Weight women's community, where you can process this podcast and just get support in whatever area you are on in your More Than Your Weight journey. And also make sure you follow me on Instagram. You can message me and we can have a conversation. You can process this podcast. Follow me at madewell345. All right, that's it. And I will see you on the next episode. If you're ready to not just believe, but also act like you are more than your weight, this episode is for you. This is the official first episode of season 6 and the new name, More Than Your Weight Podcast. And in it, I dive deep into 21 different ways that you can start both in your thoughts and your actions, believing and acting that you are more than just your weight, that your health, your worth, all of that is in way more. Your whole purpose is in way more than your weight. All right. So in this episode, I go into my three-part framework that I really support clients in: mind or mindset, body or habits, and then soul, life. Because I think the primary things that feed us actually aren't on the plate. It has kind of nothing to do with what we think it does. So you're going to want to stay tuned throughout the whole episode. And also you're going to want to stay tuned because there's a lot of good freebies and good things that are happening in this episode. And this week, I'm doing a giveaway this week to celebrate the launching of this new podcast and this rebrand. You can win a 90-minute coaching session and some essential oils. I have an opportunity for you to sign up for regular updates and get the podcast categorized by those 3 different areas: mind, body, and soul. And then I'm doing a live series this whole month called the More Than Your Weight series, where every Thursday I'm going to be going live and diving deeper into one of these topics. So a lot of ways to really celebrate this new rebrand and a lot of ways to really support you. And of course, as you know, I'm always looking to support women more one-on-one. So this month, I'm actually opening up a few spots for my 6-month program. So all the details in that are in this episode. It's a jam-packed, filled one. I usually don't do long ones like these days, at least solo ones, but I really wanted to get all of this in here to kind of give you a picture of what more than your weight really looks like in everyday life, living that out, as well as some ways to support you in that this month. Okay, so listen in. Enjoy, and I will see you in the episode.